Well, there is fresh optimism this morning that we could see coronavirus vaccinations rolled out this side of Christmas. The front page of The Sun, we've been talking about already, haven't we, Ben? Says up to 1 million Brits a day are to be vaccinated against COVID, an extraordinary programme, a record-breaking push to beat the virus. And it reports that the vaccine manufacturer Pfizer is expecting approval of their vaccine within days. Now, Dr. Amir Khan is with us now. Health Secretary Matt Hancock has already said this morning, great news, there is hope before Christmas, but there's no guarantee, more likely to be the new year. But it has sparked lots and lots of questions from our viewers about, you know, the detail of this vaccine. And hopefully you'll be able to answer some of them, because some of them actually, I thought, well, I haven't thought of that either. So several people have said, including Colin, could the vaccine be given if you have COVID-19? Would it kind of ameliorate the symptoms of COVID-19? Would it help with that, which would be very, very helpful? And would it negate the need for self-isolation?
OK, so if you've actively got COVID-19, if you've got a temperature or a fever, a cough, those kind of symptoms, often we don't give vaccinations when people are acutely unwell. That's the same for the flu vaccine. So we like people to be well before we can give them a vaccine, so their immune system is ripe and ready to make an immune response to that particular vaccine. So if you've actively got COVID-19, it's unlikely you'll get the vaccine at that point, but usually when you're feeling better.
So, but lots of people, it's an interesting point, actually, because Anne asked the same question. Barbara, Scott, John, I think they've all said the same thing, which is if you've already had COVID...
Yeah, so you're not currently having the severe
but you've got
symptoms.
over it and you've got the antibodies, can you then receive the vaccine, and will that have any impact on you?
So people who have had COVID-19 may have a natural immune response to it and have antibodies to it. We just don't know how long that lasts for, and people's immune system will vary from person to person. So the strength of their immune response will vary. So at the moment, the experts are saying you should still get the COVID vaccine, even though you may have had the illness in the past, to boost your immune response. It will all depend on which vulnerable group you are in, depending on when you get it. But at the moment, the recommendation is, even though you may have had it in the past, you should still get the vaccine when you're offered it.
So talking of boosting, then, the vaccine be able to boost those who already have the antibodies, that is because there's still a question mark, isn't there, about how long after you've had it you then retain some immunity. Is there still a question mark about how long the vaccine can then give you immunity as well? Because that's several questions here too.
Yes, there is still a question mark over that, and the data is still being compiled over with that. We know the vaccine through the trial data is safe, but we don't know how long the immunity lasts for. And people are talking about perhaps getting yearly COVID vaccines, though we don't know that for sure yet, but that might be the picture that emerges.
OK, two last ones here for you, Amir. Danny says, and I'm not sure whether this has been discussed or whether it's planned or whether you think this is a good idea, will there be some sort of passport or card issued to those who've been vaccinated? So if you're wandering around and you're in and about, you can show people that you've been vaccinated so you are safe. Maybe that's something that could happen, he says. And also, Elaine says, once you've had the vaccine, does that mean you can stop wearing a mask? Equally, that would sort of play into the same thing, wouldn't it? If you have some sort of symbol to say, look, I've had the vaccine, so I don't need to be wearing a mask. And
also, I guess the implication would be that you're wearing the mask to prevent the spread of it. Does having the vaccine mean that you then can't spread it? Yeah. It's not just protecting you, but it prevents the spread.
Yeah, so when you've had the vaccine, it will reduce your risk of developing symptoms from coronavirus and help you in that regard. We don't know yet whether it prevents you from passing on the virus. So yes, you should still wear a mask when you're out and about after having the vaccine until enough people have been vaccinated to get herd immunity. And that will take some time. In terms of having a passport, it's the same principle, really. You may be vaccinated, you may be protected against it, which is really good. However, you may still be able to pass it on to other people. So you still need to wear a mask and take the necessary precautions to protect those around you. So having a passport isn't really that useful.
OK, very last question, because it's the last one we've got. Susan here says, I have a question about the vaccine. Is it a live vaccine? My daughter has arthritis and can't receive live vaccinations as she has autoimmune disease. There will be certain people, I should imagine, that have conditions which won't allow them to take the vaccine?
It's not a live vaccine, so it's not a weakened version of the virus. It's a part of the viral genetic code called RNA, which is injected into people. It programs your own cells to make proteins that look like the coronavirus, and then your immune response is in response to those proteins. So it isn't a live vaccine, which makes it a lot safer in groups that may have otherwise not been able to have the injections. But we are still waiting on the detail of those very vulnerable groups, but it's looking promising.
That's great news for Susan and her family. Amir, great to get some thoughts and answer all of those questions this morning.
Thank you.